I want you to check out this clip of Jeffrey Epstein, and he's talking about a topic that we have been touching on our channel. Check it out.
And one of the things that people won't enjoy, it turns out that potentially one of the bad things to teach children is how to write. Writing, reading, and arithmetic was supposed to be, everyone's supposed to be taught. But writing forces you into a very narrow channel of thinking. You have to write in a certain form, in a certain way, in a certain linear pattern. So your thinking becomes somewhat narrow. The reason I brought up writing is one of the recent discoveries of mine with respect to Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle is they never wrote anything. They spoke, and people around who could write wrote.
You know, it's just so funny to me that the same class of people who have ridiculed ancient African culture for years simply because some African cultures did not have their own writing, they labeled them as being less intelligent. And now we're seeing that behind closed doors, they're saying, actually, they were onto something. But as you notice, he completely left Africa out of that whole context that he was sharing there. But beside all of Epstein's other stuff that he has going on, he's actually correct. Writing is not a true measure of someone's intelligence. The matrix system that we're in actually set up these standards that they believe are the tell signs of what truly measures intelligence. But when you actually look at, let's say, Black culture, for example, you'll find many examples of some of the brightest minds, the most intelligent minds, the most creative minds. They did not, in many cases, they couldn't write or they couldn't even read. This goes all the way back to ancient African culture, where you'll find those cultures that, some of those cultures where they didn't write things down, they embodied their intelligence. They didn't need to go to college to understand astronomy. They didn't need to go to Oxford University to figure out the laws of physics. It was something that they understood, especially in areas of like building walls or that were standing for thousands of years. Writing in of itself is only a snapshot of the wide world of your consciousness. Not even your brain can capture all of who or what your consciousness really is. We're only getting a small piece of our consciousness at that moment when we write things down. Be sure to check out our channel as we explore how our consciousness actually shapes what we know as Black culture and African culture. Because quite honestly, we've been really thinking very small about these concepts.